The three bodies and karma. Hello, this is Shores of Infinity with your host Chris speaking today about other worlds, other bodies, karma, the soul, immortality and rebirth. According to Sri Aurobindo's chapter 22 in book 2 of the Life Divine. This is a very juicy chapter. There's a lot in it, and it might take several videos to cover this. Usually I race across chapters, sometimes to 2 chapters at once, but this is a very dense chapter. So firstly, about bodies. In the last chapter we talked about different worlds. The physical world, the subtle or vital world, and the mental world. And above that, the supramental and Satchitananda and the Absolute. Now we also have 3 bodies. The physical body, which we usually call our body, the subtle or vital body, and the mental body. And beyond that we also have a soul, a psychic being that is the link to the divine for us. This is what makes us special, what makes us spiritual beings. And this is also what makes us able to reincarnate, to rebirth, to live several lives and not only one, because there's something to learn here. And for that to take place, we don't only have a physical body. The physical body dies and it's gone. It will be burned or eaten by worms and bacteria and whatnot. But the subtle and the mental body will live on. Those are the bodies that will be passed on from reincarnation to reincarnation for the benefit of the soul, of the psychic being. The psychic being is that eternal part in us that wants to learn something, that wants to experience something, mostly experience here. Mostly in this physical world, our aim is to experience something. And because a single lifetime is nice but not much, we have a vital and a mental body that will be conserved, so to say. It will not die. The physical body dies. There's no way back. The vital and the mental body does not die. There's a lot of talk about immortality. Always has been and is still going on. Of course, what most people mean with it is they don't die. That your physical body doesn't die and the life of your personality goes on and on and on. This is not possible. That also doesn't make any sense because you need to experience and learn something, and if your physical body and your personality, your ego would just go on living for centuries or millennia, the learning curve would go down. I mean, just look at older people now. Many of them don't learn stuff. They get less and less flexible. We even have this in mythology, like vampires. They stagnate at some point. They get bored. Or elves and dwarves and stuff. They get tired of life and they get more and more inflexible. So that's how we imagine how it would be if we had physical longer lives, which we don't. And it's good that we don't. Sri Aurobindo writes, it is for experience, for growth of the individual beings that the soul enters into rebirth. Joy and grief and pain and suffering, fortune, misfortune are parts of that experience, means of that growth. Even the soul may of itself accept or choose poverty, misfortune or suffering as helpful to its growth, stimulants of a rapid development, and reject riches and prosperity and success as dangerous and conducive to a relaxation of its spiritual effort. The harder our life is, the more we look for something else, the more we look to the spiritual, the easier it is, the more we can become complacent and stagnate. And that's not the goal. Our goal here is not to stagnate, but to experience as much as possible, even if it's uncomfortable. We have seen this recently during the so-called pandemic, that a lot of people woke up. A lot of people make huge jumps of consciousness, of spiritual development. In spiral dynamics terms, 1 or 2 or even 3 colors in a short time, 3 years or so. That's very uncommon, but these crisis moments, they can do this. They can facilitate this. They're catalysts. They break identification. We're usually much too identified. Once identifications and beliefs break, are not sustainable, we need to change and progress. And that is the aim here. If there is an aim to life, then learning and progress is it. But not learning on progress of our personality, of the ego. The ego wants to stay the same. It loves routine. Even the subtle and the mental body, they're not really there for learning. They're just vehicles or sheaths. The different Sanskrit words for it. Some call it vehicle, some sheath. Doesn't matter. The thing that wants to learn is our soul, our psychic being. So we could even say we consist of 4 parts. The physical body, the vital body, the mental body, and the psychic being. The psychic being, though, is something much greater. It's not even only individual. It's more of a collective thing. An individual part of a collective being, like a hive mind. But it's not a body. The other 3 things are bodies. We have the physical body to move around in the physical and the gross world. We have the vital body to move around in the vital or subtle worlds, plural worlds, like in dreams, for example. And then the mental body that enables us to move around in the mental worlds or causal worlds. This is, for example, something that animals can't do. They can't go to the mental world. But we can. We usually don't, because we are identified with the physical and part of the subtle world. And then spiritual seekers usually get identified with one of the subtle worlds and then also stop progressing. Our aim is to explore and experience all 3 worlds, the physical, the subtle, and the mental, and then to rediscover our psychic being, which is the actual cause why we're doing all this. Okay, that's it for today, the first part of the video of this chapter about the bodies and karma. The next one will be more about karma. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving the video a thumbs up. It helps other people find it. Thank you for joining me as a patron. And thank you, of course, to all those who have already joined my Patreon site and are supporting this channel. Thank you very much and see you soon.